few days in now. What are some of the things that you feel like are showing up on the court that you've been able to start rebuilding that were really essential for you guys to kind of get back to ground zero on?
Yeah, just as much as time that we can spend together on the court, we got some new guys that we want to fill into our system. So, it's been good. We had a, a good 3 days so far. So, we're gonna keep on building.
Alex Caruso was mentioning, I think one of these days there was a lineup where it was like you, him, Wiggins, Kaysen, like all kind of all on the same team. Is it fun seeing that level of defensive versatility and toughness on the floor at one time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got a lot of guys that can guard and that can do a really good job. So, we just gotta build that chemistry, to be able to communicate in those type of moments and stuff like that. So, that was a good team, a good lineup to have, and we just got to keep on building on that.
And with Alex specifically, like what ways have you found yourself playing off of him, and how do you guys maybe complement each other?
AC's a really good, big vocal person. He communicates a lot, and which I feel like this really helped, and this is something that I can take away from him, especially and he's just a great defender in general, and there's so much stuff I can learn about him from all the experience that he had in the NBA. So, I'm happy he's here with us.
What's it like navigating a Isaiah Hartenstein screen?
It's not easy at all, and I knew that already. But yeah, he's a big physical guy, and he's really good at what he's doing, and I'm happy that I only get to go through those screens in practice only, not really in the games, but I'm really happy to have him here.
You mentioned learning from Alex being vocal. Mark was kind of saying yesterday that you're a guy that you're a competitor, but you don't really talk much, and that he doesn't want to change anybody or make you to be somebody that you don't want to be. Do you have plans to transform
change?
something like that? Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't have plans to change, but communicating on defense is a big part. I'm doing it, but he's doing it way more than me. I'll give him that. And this is something that I got to get more comfortable doing. But the way I compete and the way I play is a little different. But there's some tricks that I can take from him for sure.
You guys were top 5 defensive rating last year. So what's improvement look like this season?
Don't know yet. The season hasn't started yet. But from the guys that we added and from the the guys that we have that can guard, I feel like it can be up there again. We just got to see and really got to take this day by day and really build that chemistry during the practices and stuff. But we'll see where we end up.
Lou, going back to the summer, what did the Olympic experience just mean to you personally, getting a chance to represent Canada on that stage?
It was fun. Definitely was fun. Being part of the history of Canada basketball, not making it in so long and being able to be on that team was amazing. I was out there. I had a lot of fun. It didn't end up the way we wanted, but, the experience was amazing.
What does that experience do for you in your game coming into this season, getting those very meaningful reps on that stage?
Yeah. Really attack every game the same way. It's a little different when you play in the Olympics because, you really gotta win a game so you can advance. So, you can't doubt any team and, approach the game the same way and then, really go out there to win a game, even though you don't know some players on the other side or whatever like that. They're professional like everybody, so they can really go. So really don't expect anything and really go out there and compete.
Lou, since you've been here, you've played a lot of different roles on offense. As the team continues to change, as you've been here longer and longer, how valuable is that for you to be able to access maybe different styles of offense that you've been asked to play over the course of your time?
Yeah, I'll just keep learning. Whatever position or whatever coach wants me to do, I'll do it. And then it's been different every year, and I've been adjusting every time. And at the end of the day, I got a great opportunity to showcase my game and go out there and compete every night. So that's the most important thing for me. But whatever coach wants me to do, I'll go out there and do it.
What have you seen? What have you seen from Dylan Jones so far?
Physical. He has a lot of game time. Crafty, physical, but just, he's new. He just got to learn everything in the system and all that. But he's really comfortable, and then he has a lot of stuff to show.
Is Alex a new member of your defensive group chat?
Yeah, he's actually in. We had a little meeting yesterday, and AC added the group now. So it's AC, me, A. Wiggs, and and then queso.
Who'd you play with today?
Today we didn't play, so today we just kind of had weights, individuals, and then like a long film session. So today we didn't play.
Who'd you play with yesterday then?
It was Ijo, Casey, AJ. I don't remember everyone else. I think those were the guys.
What you like about playing with Ijo? What's that dynamic look like so far?
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's kind of similar to what it was with Dante last year. So just kind of having another guy that I can kind of play off of. The way he shoots is incredible. So it just makes my life easier. And then he also knows how to cut, so it's pretty dangerous, especially just the way I know how to play. So it's been a lot of fun.
Something that Mark mentioned the other day is just your ability to understand screening angles based on who you're playing with. You know,
Yeah.
you didn't screen for Brunson the same way you screened for DiVincenzo. What's that process like for you? Is that instinctive? Is that something that comes out in training camp? What's that like?
Yeah, it comes out in training camp. I mean, I think the luxury I kind of had is I've played with so many different players. It goes from James Harden, PG, Jalen Brunson last year, Dante, just different guys. So you just kind of figure out what's best for each guy, and you kind of go from there. So that's why training camp is it's really good just to get used to that, but then also just communication. I mean, you just kind of talk to the guys what they kind of like, and just kind of go from there.
From a bigger picture standpoint, the team as a whole, in your experience being in a bunch of different camps, what are some of the most important foundational things to be setting right now?
Just habits. I think that's a big thing. It's just continuing to build habits. Don't skip steps. I think the organization does a great job of not skipping steps and really being process driven. So it's been great. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the guys here. Even though they're young, they're really professional. So it's been good. It's been fun.
Isaiah, you mentioned all the players you've been able to screen for. I just wonder, like, where does Shea fit into that? How does he compare to maybe some of the guys you screened for before, and how is he unique in that sense?
He's elite. I mean, he's one of the top players in the game. The way he can go downhill, create his own shot, get others better. It's definitely with the guys I play with, he's definitely up top with all of them.
Because he's so good in isolation with the ball in his hand, does it pose a challenge maybe for him, trying to screen for him?
No, I mean I feel like it's just reading it. I mean, like I said before, like you just have to figure out what they kind of like, who they're playing against. So it's different. I mean, it's different every game. It's depending who the big is, who's guarding him. So it's really just reading. I don't think it's difficult at all.
Another thing,
What's it been like practicing with Chad?
That's been good. I mean, he's really talented, really competitive. So it's been fun just playing against him every day. So it's been good.
another thing Mark has given you a lot of credit for. It's something he noticed playing against you was just how well you call out coverages defensively, kind of quarterback and defense. When did that become something that you took a lot of pride in?
I mean, I had to learn it. I mean, I feel like, especially coming in as a rookie, I probably wasn't talking as much as I should. A big guy with that was Tyson Chandler. I played with him with the Rockets. He kind of taught me how important communication is. So just, again, learning from those guys, I think helped me a lot.
And just what's it like with this such a tight-knit group, obviously a fun group? What's it like building chemistry with them so far?
It's easy. I mean, it's easy. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I think there's a combination of guys getting long, guys being kind of loose, but then when practice starts, we're all locked in. So I think that's the perfect mix.
Going back to Chad. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I know you try to show everything you got this couple days, but have you tried a 3-point yet?
Yeah, I've been shooting them. I mean, that's just more just getting back in rhythm, just getting back into the reps of those. So it's been going good. We'll just keep building off that. Yeah.
Have you tried a 3-point one?
Yeah, I mean, Mark's giving me the confidence he wants me to shoot him. So it's I mean, I'm not gonna come down, do a tween behind the back, step back. That's not happening. But when I get him in the corner, I'm definitely gonna shoot him. So yeah.
Going back to Chad specifically, just what stands out to you about the way he anchored the defense?
I mean, first of all, he's just so long, so that's kind of the biggest thing. He anticipates really good. The thing that's been impressive, he also communicates. And I feel like that's something I didn't really see as much like playing against him, but then now seeing him every day, he did a really good job of communicating, making sure the guys out in the right spots, and just kind of anticipating when to go block a shot or when to contest it.
Alex was saying the other day that his first impression when he was out here, I guess, was that he didn't realize how big you were, and that people maybe don't realize how big you are. So you get that a lot?
I don't know. Maybe, I guess not. I don't know.
On the outside, you play with the Rockets, which is the West, but the Knicks. When you get in an organization, you learn something here the first couple of days, even in pickup before camp started, that you didn't know about the organization.
I mean, you kind of always saw it from afar, just kind of how professional they are. I mean, that was kind of one of the biggest things why I wanted to come here. I think you've always heard great things about the organization, but then now kind of seeing it on a day-to-day basis, it's all true. The way they take care of the players, the way they also take care of your family, I think it's top-notch. I think Sam does a great job of making sure that everyone feels like they really have a part. I mean, if it goes from physical therapists to coaches to us, that everyone's important in the organization. So I think he does a great job doing that.
In fact, you're calling out the backline defense, and you only been in camp a couple of days. Is that just being a veteran, kind of knowing that, or is that unusual to get in camp that soon to be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's experience. But I mean, I also feel like just communication, especially when you're in a new environment, makes everything easier. So I mean, just kind of talking, making sure the guys in the right spots just makes my life easier, makes the team's life easier. So I think that's the biggest thing I probably learned from Tyson Chandler. Just communication makes my life and the team's life a lot easier.
You think about all the different experiences that you've had when you're 26 years old.
Yeah.
You think back to those times when you were 19 and just trying to crack into the league, and I don't know, maybe the gratitude that you have now for being brave enough to start that journey that early.
Yeah. There's definitely gratitude. I feel like I try not to look back as much as possible, but I feel like just makes it easier to play hard every day. Kind of knowing where I came from and now where I'm at now. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's now being grateful, but then also just knowing that I'm in a spot where I always wanted to be in, and so I just want to just keep pushing my limits and keep getting better. So, yeah.
I guess you see that some of the players are barking after the game. Are you for that?
Yeah, I don't know how much. I'm gonna try to bark a little bit, but we'll see how that kind of comes about. But
Your friend in German? I'm German in language wise.
no, I think all dogs sound the same. So.
Anybody else?
Thanks, Isaiah.
Yeah, Hartenstein was just telling us about, he'd heard great things about the organization, but he's experiencing it day to day now of just how the players are treated, how their families are treated, and that goes, from physical therapists to coaches to staff to, everybody in the building. And I just wonder maybe the level of pride that you feel hearing that, and maybe also like what it means to have a player recognize that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but they walk in the building and, they're going to see Hugs and they're going to see Ayanna and the chefs and operations people, PR, physical therapists, strength people before they even come to the court. And there's a lot going on in the life of an NBA player, and in the season there's a lot of emotions. And so it's almost like a gauntlet of consistency and positivity that they go through before they get to the floor every day. And I think it really puts them and us in a position of strength when it comes to consistency on the court, when you have that kind of consistency off of it. So glad he recognizes it. We're not perfect, but we're certainly trying to make sure that that's tight, and Sam and everybody else have done a great job of that.
And I want to ask you about Lou. He's played a lot of different roles offensively for you all over the course of time. And we talked last year about him tightening his game, but are there times where all those experiences that he had, maybe with more offensive load, can prove really valuable for him over the course of an 82-game season?
I think so. I mean, he's when you watch him in college, he was like a driving scorer. I mean, he's an offensive player by nature to a degree that also happens to be a very high-level defender. So he's always kind of had that makeup, and he's had a lot of experience, obviously, and has learned where to settle his game in to have an additive game that's efficient and impactful, just like every other player. But I think any experience any of these guys have helps.
Mark, obviously yesterday we were talking about, the efficiency telling you what a guy can handle. Isaiah was just saying that, you've been encouraging him to shoot threes. Just when you look at his past work, just what are you seeing that, encourages you to think that he can be, a decent level shooter?
Well, I mean, shot him before in the course of his career. And it's something he's worked on and is confident in. And when that's the case, I usually let the player take the lead on that. Especially when it's a new player, and then react from there, and let it settle in from there. The best example of that is Jay Will. He didn't shoot a lot of threes in college, and his rookie year in training camp, he was just kind of bombing them up and was making enough of them, but it was his confidence in the shot and in himself that, we kind of took the cues from. And had we not done that, we probably would have told him, hey, let's lay off of those, and we wouldn't have a 35 to 40% three-point shooter in him at this point. So we try to be open and then let the body of work tell us where to go from there. And we tend to find some stuff by doing that, and we'll do that with Isaiah and Caruso and the rookies.
Where does that philosophy come from? When you talked about training camp this year, at least, you talk about like having a hands-off approach and just letting them correct everything. Where does that come from? You're still a pretty young coach.
I mean, just understanding that you don't really know. I think it's just having the awareness that you're making educated guesses. So if I were to make a judgment of what a new player is going to look like here, it's merely an educated guess. And I don't really know, but if you allow things to unfold, you'll know a little more. The body of work will start to show you, what the weaknesses or strengths of the team are, what kind of game a player needs to play, and you could be more sure when it's time to be like, hey, this is what we got to do.
Were you like that when you first took the job?
I don't know. I think by the time I was here with the Thunder, yeah. But I mean, early on, probably not. The longer you coach, the less you think you know. Not the other way around, because the game is very humbling. You're wrong a lot. So the more you coach, the more wrong you end up being, and the more you realize that you're wrong, and then you just don't coach anymore and let the players make all the decisions.
You had mentioned yesterday about just how extroverted Caruso is out there on the floor. Other guys have mentioned just how vocal he is. What stood out to you in terms of how he's used his voice so early on here?
He's very assertive, and he's very confident in it, and I think his confidence comes from his intentions as a player. He knows he's about the team, and he knows he's about team success, and he's always in character on that, and therefore he's willing to pipe up and speak his mind, and he's always been like that. That's not just because he's a veteran player now. I could speak to that. He was like that from day one. And I think the confidence comes from, like I said, he's the most purely intentioned guy you could imagine. He only cares about the team. He only cares about team success. And therefore, when he says, hey, let's do this, he knows the guys are going to take that in a way that's non-threatening. Whereas if a guy had more of an agenda, they may be less confident to say it, or the guys may not respond the way they do to him.
He was top 5 defense last year. Adding Alex, a good defender. You never assume that you're just going to be automatically good. But if you are, what does that look like?
Well, I mean, defense is so much about competitiveness and effort and connectedness that, and those things are really hard in an NBA season. There's a lot of things pulling against that. The length of the season, the travel, the pace of the schedule, all that stuff blunts your competitiveness. It blunts your connectivity. And so you have to be that much more intentional about it, and your players have to be that much more committed to it. And we were last season, we have been for multiple years, but that is not guaranteed at all. And that's the mentality that we have to take to this, is understanding that, in the NBA, you only get what you earn. And if we want to be a really good defense, we have to earn that, just like anything else that we get.
What stood out the most about Dylan Jones so far, and kind of how has he been used early on?
All those guys, everybody that's new, whether it's Alex and Isaiah or the rookies, have done a great job. Dylan, AJ, Dukas has done a really, really good job. Topic is doing his thing right now. They've all, attacked the program, done the right stuff. So they're off to a great start. And in terms of how they've been used, kind of to my point with Daniel's question, we don't really assert that too much. It's really just system fundamentals right now. There's so much that you can do fundamentally that can fill your plate for a long time. And as they're acclimating to that and as they're emphasizing that, they'll start to show flickers of what they're capable of and where they might be stalling, and that's when the developmental track starts. But it doesn't start on day zero because you don't really know exactly what you're working with. They don't really know what they're doing well or struggling with, and we try to let that stuff emerge from the experience rather than be judgmental or proactive with it.
Obviously we see, Nicola working with Chip behind us. Just what is his recovery looking like? Where is that at? And just what are you hoping he gets out of this time period?
He's on track. I don't know exactly where he is, in terms of what he's doing yet, but he's worked really hard. I mean, he's been here for a while and is finally to the point where he's on the court a little bit, but has been very engaged and has taken a very consistent, workmanlike attitude to it. Those are hard rehabs. That's a long time, from surgery to being on the court playing. He's obviously got a ways to go, and so there's a lot of dark days with that. There's a lot of days that are mundane, and you got to really commit to a process that doesn't give you immediate return. He's done a great job of that for young guys. One of the things that's impressive about him is his maturity, and that's on display with how he's attacking his rehab process.
Is the plan for him to work with Chip mostly this year?
It's a village with guys like that, so it's, he's got a strength coach that is primarily handling his caseload. Chip will touch him. Connor Johnson's spending a ton of time with him. Daniel Dixon will spend a lot of time with him. We'll rotate him through the assistant coaches. We did that with Chet. He'll watch film with a different assistant coach every, 2 weeks or 10 days or something, just to build, holistic relationships. We try not to be a program that's like individual player, individual person. It's hard, you want to be a connected team, and then you set it up like that, and everybody's got their own independent, contractor. We try to, flatten that out, and we're definitely doing that with the year with him.
You mentioned the dark days, recovering from an injury, and the mental aspect is a part that gets lost in that. Do you guys try and aid a guy through that process?
A lot of it's just, some of the stuff we've already touched on, the stuff I was just saying, Clemente, and then the stuff Nick was talking about with Hartenstein is you want the building to be a place where they come in and they're energized by being here because of the people they're around and the fact that they have a clear plan, they know what's going on, people are committed to that. We want to care as much about his recovery as he does. And even then, he's still going to have plenty of days that he's like, man, I wish I was playing. But, we try to do the best we can on our end of things. And then if the player does the best they can, then, he'll work through it and he'll be back on the court.
Some talk about him. He's talking on defense in the back end. I know he's not a rookie, but still, it's a new system, I would think, from what he played in New York and his other spots. Is that usual or unusual for a guy to be able to communicate that way?
Hartenstein?
Hartenstein, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he knows the pictures. He's a very intelligent player. The NBA is a patterned league, you're seeing the same stuff over and over again. The best teams play pretty much the same way. The best players kind of have their fastball that they throw, and so you can learn the league, and he's learned the league. He's been around, you could tell, and he takes the preparation seriously. So he's got a lot of NBA institutional knowledge, and now it's a matter of him learning the Thunder institutional knowledge, which is going to be a little bit of a curve, but he's on it.
It's been out there that the Lakers hired Vanessa Brooks. I just wondered if you could speak to what losing her on the staff means.
There's a gap in between when she left here and when they hired her. It wasn't a direct line, but she's a wonderful person. She did great work here, very empathic, very organized. I think, similar to, there's a lot of organizational talk today, but, she's a person that, kind person, empathy, competent, prepared, so when people come in the building, and they're working with her, they're getting that every single day, and, that stacks up, when it's her, or when it's, like I said, anybody in the building, when you can surround the players with that, it puts them in a position of strength, and it puts everybody else in a position of strength to work with them.